Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines. 110 million XRP, FTX and SBF in the news. We got USD Tether. Watch out, everybody. Flare Networks and David Schwartz and Bob Way chime in. You're going to want it. We got former Ripple executive tells us XRP can't be confiscated. We're going to give you both sides of the coin, ladies and gentlemen. Larry Fink from Blackrock's going to give it to us on crypto, and you're going to want every single bit of it. And one TA technical analyst tells us XRP facing an eruptive move. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow us on TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter for exclusive content. Right now, $1.01 trillion market cap for crypto at the time of making this video. We're off by 0.6%. Bitcoin, 20,700 plus. Ethereum, 1,500 plus. We see Tether market cap at 66.3 billion. XRP is at 38 cents right now. We're up 12.7% on the 7-day. Just to go over it very quickly, Ethereum up 20.6% on the 7-day and 22.2% on the 7-day for Bitcoin. If you have not checked this out, they're running an incredible $5,000 minimums for accredited investors on Link2 for private equity. And looky here, Ripple's back on the board, baby. But you know it's not for long because it was just sold out. Polysign's on the board, but how long are you going to have opportunity to get that, or Uphold, or every one of these things, or Link2 itself? Oh my goodness, Unstoppable Domains is on there. I'm telling you, these are really, really incredible opportunities. And just a note for people, they don't make the rules about accredited investors. And in fact, Link2 is working very hard on being able to take down the wall and to democratize finance for all of everybody in the space. So always be on the lookout for that. They're just merely following the accreditation rules from the FINRA and SEC guidelines. So just understand that. Click that link and check it out. See if it's right for yourself. 110 million XRP soars as price soars is moved around. And I tell you something, it wasn't me, right? I think we all knew it wasn't me, but there it is. That is a lot of XRP running around right there. Again, you know, I don't know what's causing the market to tick up at this point, but I tell you, I'm so cynical, and this is not financial advice, but I happen to feel like, you know, this is just one of those moments where the market's fluxing a little bit. But until we actually get some clarity, certainly a ruling in the case for XRP, and certainly stablecoin legislation for this crypto space at a minimum, I don't think we're really seeing the market open up the way I'm looking for it to, at least. Media Power Group files request to reveal Sam Bankman-Fried's secret bail signatories. And you know what? They should be revealed. Who in the world is doing all of this? And why are they putting up so much money at risk for this guy who, according to John Ray, the new CEO of FTX, is explaining to all of us what they did was absolutely criminal. Crypto.com delists to USD Tether for Canadian users, ladies and gentlemen. I tell you, again, to go along with Gary Gensler suing Gemini, right? We know that that's happened. We've been waiting for the U.S. exchange to get sued. Watch out for Tether. I happen to have a feeling there's going to be some kind of day of reckoning there, too, so we'll see. Flare finally dropped to XRP holders. Ripple CTO Joel Katz appears displeased about it. He claims the current holding rules for Flare tokens lack incentive. As a result, David Schwartz enjoined the airdrop receivers to sell their Flare tokens quickly. And then David clears this up. He says, I bought more Flare and never advised anyone to sell Flare. I do agree that the new rules lack incentive to hold, but the old rules lack them too, he says. So, and it goes on and on. But what I do want to share with you quickly here, because you're going to believe this stuff we hear Larry Fink talk. I'm going to tell you, you're going to want every bit of this, right? So basically, I just want to cover it for this here. basically, starts with Chris Thompson here. Flare used XRP Army to fast-track exchanges, not just because XRP was listed everywhere. The community had a loud and powerful voice to demand support and distribution, the promise of an exclusive pie, but they got what they want. Now they want others to take some of your pie, too, he says. And then it comes down here. This one says, real bad look, get Flare for free, demanding more now. I got free Flare from holding XRP, delegated it, end of story. If you want more, buy more. I don't get this whole debacle. Seems to be a bunch of entitled man babies, he says. And then he says, then David Schwartz chimes in and says, but that's good for everyone. If it's good for them because they get the token they prefer. It's good for the Flare project because the selling pressure is over quicker and the token moves into the hands of people who really believe in Flare. Who does it harm? I mean, I totally agree with that. You know, from the very beginning, I've always said, drop it all. Drop it all. And then it's over with. And it seems to be the point that I'm getting from what David Schwartz is saying, not to put anything in his mouth. But it says here, then it says, it's hard not to view the FUD from XRP people just wanting to make a quick buck. Like the right has been taken away from them from a free ad, so Flare made changes in what they thought would benefit their ecosystem long term while still not taking away from the snapshot. He says, except it does take away from the snapshot. With the proposal, someone gets exactly the same benefit snapshotters just get just by buying as much Flare as the snap holder has. And it says here, without it, they would have to buy more Flare than that. He says, if you got 10 Flare from the same snapshot, and this proposal passes, someone can spend $4.50 to get the same benefit as you. And he says, if the proposal fails, they'll have to spend more than that. It does take away from the snapshot and is less than what people were led to expect, which is true. He said it's hard not to view the FUD from XRP people as just wanting to make a quick buck. He says, I could just as well say it's hard not to view the proposal as Flare leadership deciding they promised XRP holders too much and decided they'd rather give them less than that if they can. And that, you know, there's some credence there, you know, and it doesn't mean that I don't believe in the project either. And to sum it all up here, you know, Bob Way says it nicely in this. He says, by reading the FIP, which is the Flare proposal, right, it says is completely clear that every Flare distribution parameter can be easily modified in the future. The only question being debated is whether the future comes without distributing 85% of the previously promised Flare as promised. Then he says here, since it is easy to change distribution parameters, it seems easy enough to accelerate the promised 85% distribution immediately, then get on with the future of making Flare fair for everyone. Again, you know, kind of come to this place where it's like, you know, just drop it all, right? He says, in fact, voting down the FIP01 proposal is the only way to prove or disprove that Flare is really a community-managed project. Well, I certainly agree with that. If the vote succeeds, it just shows that there are leaders who make and change the rules, and there are those who follow the given rules. And I like that. Then Christopher Cassidy comes in here, Hall of Famer, says, side note, Bob, I've been meaning to ask you, what do you know about Jeff Brown and his development of GTE? And he says nothing, but I've been looking at his GTE thing, and I tell you, I find it quite interesting. If anybody else knows anything about it, please contact me through DM. I'd like to learn more about what that is, because what I saw looked quite promising, but nevertheless, send me some information if you have it. Former Ripple executive says here, this is about whether our XRP can be confiscated or not. And I'm going to show you both sides of the coin, and you can make your own mind up because you don't have to be on either side of the fence, right? You know, you can just look at this for what it is and say, if it comes with, then these are the things we need to be aware of. Right? So this is this right here. And this is actually taken from Matt Hamilton, who's been dispelling rumors and shooting down people about a government buyback of XRP last week. Former Ripple director, developer relations, has taken to Twitter to refute any other speculation circulating within the community. This time, it concerns a possible confiscation of XRP token by the government. In recent Twitter thread, Hamilton names 3 reasons why such scenarios is impossible. First, XRP is decentralized and cannot be seized without forcing key holders. Second, if the government needs a token for its own use, it would be easier to create its own crypto, CBDC. Third, if the government wants to prevent others from using XRP, it would kill the token's value and utility, and XRP would be replaced by a fork. So that's his 2 cents on the matter there, right? Then there's this I want to bring back here, and this is from a few years, 1 or 2 years ago, maybe a year ago, but I think it's actually older than that. But nevertheless, this is me sitting down with Attorney Seal up here and then Jeremy Hogan, who you guys all know. And we were speculating about this a year or two ago and the idea of what could happen. And take a listen to this exchange here, because nobody's saying that it will happen, but we're just saying entertaining the speculative, conspiratorial idea or notion of something like this taking place. Listen to how the legal analysts say that road could be hoed. Check it out.
Absolutely. Well, what Seal just said is, I'm not one to rain on a good speculation parade, so I'm going to go with you guys here. So here's my take on it. So if the U.S. government wants the escrowed XRP, it will have it. Mm-hmm. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt in my mind. And I think most U.S. citizens that aren't involved in law in any great detail don't realize how exposed we are to our government. There's only two things that separates that XRP, if the government wants it, from Ripple and the government. One, there's your vote, because if people think that you're going to, they're going to lose their vote and get kicked out of office if they do something, they won't do it. And two, there's the U.S. Constitution. And the U.S. Constitution provides some protections for something like this, and that's what Seal was referring to. I think on Twitter he was talking about eminent domain, which is I think that's the 8th Amendment.
Under the 5th Amendment, it's the takings clause under the 5th. Yeah, it's under the 5th, I think.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the 5th. It's the takings clause, I think.
Okay, I'm getting kind of old, so memory's going. But,
we all are.
So that's part of the Constitution, but really the protection in the Constitution would be the 14th, which is kind of is equal protection. So, you're taking Ripple's XRP, but you're not taking other people's cryptocurrencies. And so that would be your argument. But all the government has to do in that situation, and if you go to Seal, remember law school, we got the rational basis test and we have strict scrutiny. As soon as I passed the bar, I tried to forget it, but it's just stuck in my head. So this would be probably a rational basis test. So all the government would have to do is come up with a rational basis why the XRP was necessary or required for some nice government function, and it's gone. That's what they did with the, what do they call them? I think I wrote down here. Was it SIFMU? What's that stand for, Brad?
The SIFMU, the Systemically Important Financial Market Utility or Market Infrastructure. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy enough for them to say, well, this is a matter of important government financial policy, and therefore we're going to be taking your XRP from the ledger. And I also know it's on the escrow and it's time released, and that's fine because the government can come in like the doctor when the baby's born, grab it, and take it. So
see you again next month, right?
Yeah, and next month, and next month, and next month. Mm-hmm. Now, going outside of the government. Now, the SEC cannot. So remember this. So the SEC only has regulation over sales. So when that XRP is released from escrow, if Ripple doesn't sell it, it's outside of the SEC's jurisdiction. So I don't know what else they would do with it, but they're only regulating the sales. So keep that in mind. So I don't know if there's some kind of it's a technical issue or technological issue, whether that has to be sold. I think it might have to be sold really to fund Ripple's business. But if that's not the case, I don't think in this lawsuit that the SEC is going to be able to get in there and take the escrowed XRP.
Now, and there you have it right there. And that is really powerful to just see both sides of the coin here, right? One from a developer side and that angle, and then one from a legal analyst side, just speculating a doomsday scenario. And, it's really not quite doomsday when you think about the systemically important designations, right? Because there are entities, as we've covered multiple times on this show, about systemically important financial market utility or systemically important financial market infrastructure. And what is the layer 1 decentralized exchange protocol, the XRP ledger? Infrastructure, right? So that's why I keep bringing that back, and I think it's a good idea to see both sides of that coin. And shout out to Jimmy Valley for getting this conversation out on the table and making it something we can absolutely talk about. And I don't think the conversation's over by a long shot. Ripple partner BNY Mellon seeks digital assets as a long-term play. They go as far as saying anybody who doesn't believe in what's coming with digital assets technology is like the person who was trying to say they wanted to stay with paper when the adoption of computers was happening. Wow. That is pretty impressive stuff. And so is this. You're about to hear from Larry Fink from Blackrock, and I want to remind you before you hear from him, $10 trillion in assets under management. And boy, is he bullish on what crypto can do. Take a listen to this clip.
Chairman and CEO Larry Fink, who joins me along with Charlie Gasparino. Larry, we want to get your thoughts on crypto. BlackRock does have some exposure. Filings show your funds hold just under something like $40 million in secured convertible notes of Core Scientific. That one filed for bankruptcy. BlackRock's also got a spot Bitcoin private trust. How's that doing? What's the interest, on the side of investors since the arrest of FTX CEO Sam Bankman-Fried on fraud charges?
Great question, Liz. So I think on your show months ago, I said most companies are not going to survive. I think there was just way too much enthusiasm towards crypto. But that being said, the technology, the opportunities in the digitization of currency, on stablecoin, is real. We are spending a great deal of time focusing on the opportunities that we have related to crypto. I do believe we have to work very carefully in building out the system for crypto beyond just the blockchain, and I'm talking about better connectivity, more regulated, more AML, and so I believe the purpose of crypto is going to play a big role. I think if you think about the cost it takes to do transactions today, in this modern world, they're very expensive. In fact, the cost of transactions in the United States sometimes are higher than they are in the emerging world to move money from point A to point B. And so crypto can play a role. That being said, we're going to have to making sure that it's properly regulated. One of the whole foundations of crypto was, that it was going to be a distributed, and I want to underline the word, a distributed ledger, that we're going to have checks and balances, right, that everybody's able to connect. The FTX platform and many other platforms, they were a closed platform. Right. They were not what crypto is about. And if you think about what Bitcoin is, Bitcoin was created with the idea that we're going to have this true checks and balances through a distributed ledger. And we could verify and validate who is the owner, who's the seller, right, and it creates a real system. Yeah. So that is the technology that's going to be very, very important, right, throughout all financial services.
We know the technology could be important, and it's still kind of in its nascent stages. Yes. It's often divorced from the digital coins, as you know, which is a speculative play often. I'm just wondering this. Do you see the SEC, Washington, Treasury, whoever, coming in and imposing so much regulation on crypto that it basically weeds out everything but a few core coins and some of the blockchain? I mean, is there a possibility that this thing gets squished down from the 800 billion to $1 trillion it is now to a 200 billion, and it's a lot smaller?
Charlie, I think there's no question there has to be proper checks and balances related to knowing the client, so the AML, and so I think that's going to be very, very important. I don't whether that's the SEC or some regulator. We need to make sure we ensure there's a knowledge base of who is buying, right, who's selling, and it's proper. But beyond that, the answer is I hope not. I believe this is real. I believe there's real opportunity for this. I believe more and more of the large financial services companies are going to be part of this and playing a role. So this is, as you said, it's nascent. This reminds me of the music streaming business years ago, and Napster created the streaming. It was put under, but today it's common that we stream our music.
Well, how many digital coins do you think will exist in a year from now?
Well, that's where I don't think we need that many. We need we need a digitized dollar. Let's start there, or some form of stable coin, and then we need some form of a crypto asset, whether it's a Bitcoin or a new Bitcoin, that where if people want to invest in things that are uncorrelated to any one currency, uncorrelated to one market. And that's what gold used to be. And can we create this uncorrelated asset class that can play that role? Beyond that, in most cases, what digitization of crypto is, it's just digitizing a dollar, having the ability to transact business on the internet. And so, to me, there's a lot more hype than what it really basically is. We're doing a great deal of studying on it. We invested in one company that's doing very, very well in the stablecoin arena, and so we're doing a great deal of studying. I'm meeting many people in this arena.
Can you say which one? Can you say which one?
Well, it's public. We invested in Circle, and Circle is one of the...
Invested in Circle. Believes that the financial services companies are really going to drive this adoption, right? Crypto will play a big role, he says. The digital dollar. They're back in Circle. Look, I tell you, all of this is telling me very, very bullish things for this space. Now, again, I agree. I've given the example for years on this channel about the music industry and about how it was decentralized and it turned the music industry giants on their heads. And that the central banks and the financial institutions are absolutely watching from that exercise that happened to them and that industry that has never been the same. Napster came out and showed us what you could do with downloading and all of this. Sharing, file sharing, and the rest of it. Now we're streaming music every day. The industry of music has never been the same since. And that disruption is about to take place in the financial banking realm as well. And that's Larry Fink, 10 trillion assets under management at Blackrock. Now let's take a look at this really quickly here. From Blackrock Crypto, he says it's XRP decision time. Breaking this multi-month descending trend line will open the road to an abrupt move. And he says, I hope DCG saga will not kill the XRP pump. And I hope it doesn't either, but this is what we want to watch, and this is what he's showing us here to pay attention to, ladies and gentlemen. It's right here, if I can get it to open up for us in 3, 2, boom. There it is. He calls it the floor of iron. We get above that, it looks like we got some room to run. If we don't, we could see us return back to that 28 cent level. I know a lot of you don't want to see that, but I tell you, I've gotten so cynical in my age and time in this crypto space. I had somebody inside of the Digital Perspective Mastermind group say it. I think it was Tyler. Shout out to him. One of the greatest lessons I've learned is patience. And that's where we are on this day. Enjoy your Sunday with family and friends. That's going to do it for me. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. I'll catch all of you on the next one.